Hello. Good morning, everyone. It is 8 a.m. Tuesday. Friday's training's on Ask and Attract. Join me 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern every Friday. Over 20 years doing free training to help empower others to be happy. Well, actually, to empower others to be happy. Colleen, good to see you. Remind me, I have some updates for you on our calls. Great to see you. Happy Tuesday. Clubhouse, the Breakfast of Champions, 6 a.m. on Fridays as well. We got a great time today. Jake, good to see you. Joseph, thank you for the yacht deal. I appreciate that. Good deal. Anyway, we're moving and grooving. Let's get some questions going. Where's Team David Meltzer when you need him? If you need me, you got exercises, guides, my books for free. All you got to do is email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or text me and join my text community, 949-298-2905. Go ahead, and it's pinned below. What is happening, Jeffrey? Good to see you. Welcome. It's going amazing. Everyone's interested today. That's awesome. Where are we at? All right, cool. What is the AAA strategy? AAA strategy is alignment, action, and adjustment. That's in my book, which I will send you for free. Just go ahead and email me, david@dmeltzer.com. I'll sign it, send it, pay for shipping. Not a problem. But go ahead. AAA strategy. You get alignment first. 80% of the time is getting aligned. Then take action, but prepare for adjustment. You are happy where you are at the right place at the perfect time. You have everything you need, but angle with everything you got towards what you want and have the faith that you'll end up somewhere better. That's my overall perspective on the AAA strategy of alignment, action, and adjustment. Do you do coaching, and where can I find it? Yes, I have free trainings on Friday for everyone. It's also the replays. Download the playbook. It's my podcast, 650 or so episodes. Check it out, but it also has all my trainings on there. So not only celebrities, athletes, entertainers, media, entrepreneurs, billionaires, and millionaires, but all my trainings are on there. You can download it anytime. The playbook, share it, like it, etc. You can find and email me if you want further than free training. We have private coaching groups and also one-on-one coaching and business advisory. But I only work month to month, and I'm very selective on who I can work with because I have to be able to guarantee profitability or success value-wise. So if you're interested, just email me, david@dmeltzer.com, or text me, 949-298-2905. Let's get a few more questions. Thanks for pounding them in here, by the way. What is the greatest thing you've attracted? My wife. That's easy. What's the greatest thing that you've attracted? It's my wife. There's no doubt about it. I mean, look at this face. Let's be honest. I'm amazing. I've outkicked my coverage. Speaking of outkicking my coverage, let's bring my friend Sophie. Sophie Jaffe is the founder of Philosophy Superfoods, health and wellness influencer, and tremendous. Look at her. She just reeks of success. How are you?
Hi, how good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
I love I'm going to blow it, but I'm going to have to read it now because I just had it. Philosophy. I love it.
My name's Sophie, and it's Philosophy.
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's a company. We got to get you some.
Yeah, definitely. And, like as you get older, you start realizing, especially if you have been someone who believes in fitness and exercise, on the superfood and nutrition side, percentage of impact that it has on you comparatively. As you get older, I tell people, really, you're better off moving, like meaning having constant movement in your life, than working out really hard.
Yeah.
And then focusing in on your nutrition and having super fuel for superfoods. And as you get older too, I know too many people that are spending and putting better things in their cars than they put in their bodies.
It's the best, analogy ever is like, why would you give that to your car? Would you put crap in your car? No, you wouldn't. So what about your body? If we want to move efficiently, if we want to run it, want great energy, we've got to fuel it with the right stuff. And to me, it's not about being extreme at all. It's about living your life, having a great balance, enjoying the beautiful foods of the earth, and going out to great dinners and stuff, but also balancing that with like the most nutrient dense foods when you can. You know, eating a wide array of colors. It's something that everyone can do.
I love that. And I also love, I have seen historically how food was always medicinal and we've made it disease,
Totally.
especially in America.
Yeah.
And I've been blessed to travel throughout the world. I mean, I think it's a huge irony. I build villages in Africa, in Kenya, and we build as part of the sustainable communities, organic farms,
Yeah.
right? And when we go to Africa, I actually feel better. Right here we are, this well-developed nation, and I feel nutrition-wise
Yeah.
that I'm excited to go to Kenya so I can eat well
Wow.
compared to all the things that are here, right? And it is a very important thing. Now, how did you get started on this journey? I love the fact that you are in the life journey of this, not just this is your 2-week diet and this is don't do it unless you can do it for the rest of your life type of concept. But how did you evolve in getting to be such a great influencer in the space?
Yeah, I mean, it was really natural. Like I was just watching your video that you posted yesterday, which I love, about alignment, about vibration, and and yeah, all the time in this space is authenticity. And yes, I've always shown up to the best of my ability. To be honest, my husband and I have a podcast, and we always talk about radical transparency. And I think that I was speaking that way and sharing my heart from the beginning, and that wasn't something that was very normal. Like people weren't talking about being on the platform. But now that's changed. So even more, one step above that is when you're locked into your authenticity, vibrating at that frequency, that you attract the things that you are meant to partner with, that you are meant to bring in. And that's what I just love. And I mean, I really just started super organically. I just was posting things that I loved, and I had my superfood company philosophy, and I was just like, well, I can just keep sharing. People keep asking, what are you using on your skin? What are you eating? What are you feeding your kids? What are you? And so I just started sharing a little bit more of that part of my life, and not just philosophy, because it isn't just the food that I'm eating. It's everything. It's like my state of mind. It's my relationships in my life. It is everything, right? It's not just, you can't just pin something down to the food you're eating or the way you're moving. It's the way you move through your life.
It's so true. I talk about mindset, heart set, and then the conscious competencies, which takes that, academic intelligence that you need to understand nutrients and nutrition, balance, but also the emotional intelligence. And then, of course, an unconscious competency, which is directly related in nutrition because, one of the things that's frustrating with my knowledge of nutrition over the years with athletes and celebrities that I've worked with is everybody's different. And until recently, I haven't heard anybody talking about, your own specific unconscious competency, your own DNA, the way that you may process things different than other people. And there isn't an out of the box solution when it comes to nutrition or exercise or anything. And so you need consistent behavior to figure out where your quantum potentials are and where the detriments are, et cetera. And I love, you have this very holistic approach of, hey, let's figure out what's right for you. And you're also keeping it simple. There's not a complex thing.
And as we were talking earlier, everything can be a medicine, everything can be a poison. Depending on who it's for. Like you could eat a bunch of apples and feel super bloated by it. And I could have the most energy, have the flattest stomach, and just feel like I can take on my day from like eating 4 apples, where you might be really bloated from it. And just knowing that it's not like these foods are good, these foods are bad. Nothing in life is that way. It's tuning into that rhythm, that attraction, that inner knowing. And once you can connect to that intuition of you knowing best how you should be moving at this point in your life, what you should be eating at this point in your life, not for the next 10 years, right? Like that's where we get kind of stuck, is like, this is the way I'm going to be. And we put ourselves in a box and then we limit ourselves. So really tuning into, oh, well, that worked for me yesterday, but it doesn't today. And that can excite us instead of freak us out.
Yeah, right. We just create interferences, voids, and shortages from what we don't know. I hate to analogize to like one of my favorite movies, but I love Kung Fu Panda when they were talking about, I could survive on a drop of dew.
Mm.
And ironically, it really motivated me to do more research on, think about the concept of being so efficient, in tune, aligned, and connected to the greatest source of power, light, love, and energy, that you literally could survive in an efficient, powerful way on a drop of dew. What would, and I think for me, analogizing what that drop would be has
Love.
helped me tremendously, that it doesn't have to also, I think overeating, is a great problem for those people that may actually eat very healthy, but you said like 4 apples,
Yeah,
and they wonder why they don't feel well. And they immediately say, oh, apples and I don't mesh. Well, no,
exactly.
you ate 4 apples, right? So
Exactly.
how do we know some of these things and learn, what quantity wise, quality wise, and selection wise are best attuned or aligned with our frequency, our vibration, our biochemistry?
I mean, I think it's really about that inner awareness and connecting to anything in your life. If food is too complicated for you, look at the things around you in your life. Look at and start to build this relationship with the people, the things, the whatever it might be. Just build more of an intuitive relationship with yourself. And what is intuition? It's that inner knowing. And if you're feeling lost and you're just kind of like mindlessly snacking or mindlessly moving, like start to just for one day connect to your intuition and start to connect to that inner knowing. Should I go this way or should I go that way? You can do it on a walk. You can go outside, put your phone away, and should I go left or should I go right? Look for the signs. There might be a bird that's telling you something there, and it might sound woo-woo, but it's not. It's not crazy. It's the universe is constantly with us, co-creating with us, and helping us on whether it's the foods we should be eating. There are signs our body is giving us every time that we eat something. And it's not the same every single time for that specific food. It's the way you show up to it. It's the thoughts you think, and it's the presence you have with it. And it's really about tuning into your intuition and your inner knowing.
Yeah, I look up all the N words, all the words that start with IN, all the words that start with DE, and all the words that start with RE, and feel as if I can gain a lot of, I think, guidance from understanding words that are depressing or recollection or remembrance, or, of course, intuition, inspiration, intellect, all these great things. Because we can't find outside of us what we can't find where? Inside of us, which makes what you do, because you make the inside of us so whole. Real quick, last question. In the health side of things, supplements, billions and billions and billions of dollars are being spent on supplements. I take a D3 vitamin. I take omega-3 vitamin and a multivitamin, basic supplements. And I know people that take like 25 pills a day. And I've always wondered, you know, does that affect the natural side of things, of what we're eating, or does it help us?
I mean, I personally think this is I'm actually not a nutritionist. I'm a raw food chef. I have a
Yeah.
superfood. I didn't go to school for nutrition, but after years of working with clients, all walks of life, I really think we should be getting our nutrition from food. We shouldn't be supplementing. Most of what we need, we can get from food. If, for example, you're a vegan and you only eat plants and you're not able to get spirulina, for example, which would be the food source of B12 and iron, then yes, take a B12 supplement. But you want to start with like one thing. Like you don't need a multivitamin if you're getting all of your foods and all those colors that you need in the day. And I think we overcomplicate it. Get a bunch of colors every day. Make sure you're eating enough, not too much, not too little. And that's unique to you and your body, and tuning into that rhythm and that knowing, that inner knowing. If you're still feeling hungry, you probably need a little bit more each day. It's kind of much more easy than we realize. And start to add in supplements when you aren't able to get certain things in a day from your food.
I love it. I love your philosophy, no pun intended. Sophie Jaffe, people can find you at sophie.jaffe. Where else can they find you?
Yeah, my website's thephilosophy.com. Our podcast is Ignited, IGNTD. And then, yeah, sophie.jaffe on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you so much, everybody. Check her out. Obviously, I'm completely aligned and in tune with what you're teaching, and I'm going to go and delve in and send whatever you want. I'm all for being healthy. So thank
Yeah.
you so much.
Yeah, awesome. And then we're Philosophy Love on Instagram if you want to come check us out.
That's a great philosophy. I'm all for love. Thank you.
Thank
Great
you.
to meet you. Come back again. Come back again. So bye-bye. How cool is she? Awesome. Awesome. We got a big time day today. Looking at where we're at, looking at a 5-minute question. Oh, Large is here. Hey, I'll just let go live with Large, and then we'll do Ben. Ben Rare has a 5-minute question. Hang in there, Ben. I got my boy on. Wow. I have missed you, buddy.
What's up, my man? How are you?
You know, my New York crew finally came out here for the Super Bowl since we weren't going to make it. And the first person everyone's asking about is you because, as you know, we overtook the Barstool studio every time I came to town, come in with 20 people at 7 in the morning. I was like, who the F is this idiot? Oh, I miss you.
Miss you too. I got to be honest with you. I just hit up your guy, Jake. I haven't done Instagram Live. I usually do Zooms and stuff like that. A lot more higher end stuff. None of this bullshit. And it's thing, and all I hear is bloated, overeating. I'm like, what the fuck is this?
I know. I was surprised that you're on here too. I was like, "Are we doing an office hours on TV? He's coming on my TV show with this. What? Can't put Large on IG Live early in the morning here."
Yeah, I you know what? I love it. So I just did the Podfathers with Clem, and I tell people all the time that I did your podcast. I'd done your podcast myself and Willie, who has a relationship with you before I did, and I didn't even know why we were doing it first. Right? We just kind of met and we kind of hit it off. We did a podcast, and it was just like a lovely little sit down, a lovely little back and forth, and then it went off into the ether. I didn't speak to you. You didn't speak to me, and we have the luxury of having a lot of guests. So sometimes you never see people again. And then finally, a friend of mine who I actually went to college with and talked to him in 20 years says he was waiting for a plane in San Antonio, I think, and he looks up on the screen, and there's. I didn't know what the scope of it was, but I wound up being like, during his delay, he watched 15 minutes of me, you, and Willie. How you been, man? It's good to see you.
I'm good. Now they're seeing us. They put those playbooks up in India on the largest station in India. So if you get these Indian friends going, hey, dude, I know you. Everything's been going good. Obviously, a lot of changes. I got a lot of questions for you. I know kind of on the background of sports and your financial background, what's actually driving me crazy. I know you're moving and grooving with all your shows, but you know what's driving me crazy that I don't know about is crypto. I've been studying it, and what goes through my mind, I know, they put $1.5 billion in with Elon Musk or whoever, but my thing that keeps going in my head is Warren Buffett says it's going to crash, and Sidney Frank, who was one of my mentors in finance, the billionaire that owned Grey Goose Vodka, he always said, when the guy shining your shoes tells you to invest in something, sell. And I got a bunch of guys shining my shoes telling me to buy crypto, and it scares me.
I was the same way too. Like I grew up in with the school of thought, once it reaches the cover of Time magazine, it's done, right? Like, and that's a very dated type thing, but it's not as pretentious as the fact that you have a guy who still shines your shoes.
Right.
So I've pivoted a little bit.
That's a nice way of saying my brother-in-law, by the way.
I've pivoted a little bit because I've been doing little video tutorials because the Barstool crowd isn't that financially astute. Neither am I. And so I've done what you've told me. It's one of the things that I've held on to when you've been on, one of the times you're on the show, you had said that one of the reasons why athletes fail at business propositions or business ventures is because they're too proud to ask for help. Like, I think you had said, I thought this was very profound. Just in case you think I don't listen to you, I thought it was profound. If you're in a meeting and you find that you're the smartest person in that meeting, then you're in the wrong meeting, right? So I think sometimes almost delegating or being a general contractor in getting people more intelligent is better than being the only person at the podium. So as a result, I've been trying to find people who are smarter than me who I can kind of bullshit around. You're one of them. And, there's two schools of thought. There are people who we'll get away from Bitcoin. We'll go into the whole meme stock thing, the GameStop, that stuff. I'm, as an old school Wall Street guy, I'm not mad at it. Like, I'm not mad at anything that's gone on. It's a scam. You know,
Yeah.
it was very, very close to a pump and dump, a Ponzi scheme. Like, a lot of these guys were long before they started to pump this thing. And then a lot of people lost money as it went from 350 back down to 50, GameStop in particular. But I'm glad that people were able to make a lot of money. I think that's wonderful. However you get to do it, just please make a lot of money. I'm glad that people are making a lot of money in cryptocurrencies. I just think that it is more important than any thing that I can tell you is that you need to get out at the right time. Because like Warren Buffett and like the Time Magazine analogy that I made before, I think when it does come crashing in and you have people who have like $1.5 billion invested in it, it's going to come crashing in harder than you've ever seen. Just just as it has, doubled, tripled, up 4,000% quicker than you ever seen. And we did see some of that with GameStop in a quick time period. We're not going to see that quick time period in crypto because I've been out of business now for 3 years. And when I left the business, all people asked me about was cannabis and crypto. Those are the type things. And cannabis became like a pick and shovel trade. You're not going to make money going for the gold, but if you sell people picks and shovels, that's how you can make money in a gold rush. So crypto is one of those things where I'm hesitant to invest in it. I know a lot of people see the $40,000 price tag on Bitcoin. They find it, very, very, people look at share prices more so than their fundamentals, and they find it to be very, very, they can't touch it. It's too expensive. And that's where Elon is a fucking genius, because now you buy Tesla for a bloated $867 a share or whatever, and have a stake in cryptocurrencies as well. It's sort of like Penn also had that genius. You can't buy a stake in Barstool. We weren't a publicly traded company. People buy Penn because they want a piece of the guy who tries the pizza. Well, Penn is the largest casino operator in the United States. There's a lot of moving parts to having a casino operator. This is far from a real estate perspective. Just, owning and renting all these properties, and God damn it, you're owning horses for Christ's sake for these racetracks. But people just want to have a piece of Barstool, and they can do it through Penn. And I think the same thing is happening with Elon and crypto. I don't know where it turns around, Dave, but I don't know where it becomes illegal for Elon to talk about positions like he does when he's a man in that position who's now adding basically an S&P stock, making, adding a 2% position, 2% of the S&P, and all of a sudden taking a $1.5 billion, position and talking about it on Twitter. The manipulation
or Clubhouse, right?
That manipulation word comes up here, and I know that it's foggy right now, but Jesus Christ, that scares the shit out of me more than anything else. So,
Well, also let's move over to, you have so many different shows. You have the Podfather, which is a Barstool podcast, right?
Yeah, so I'm 100% Barstool. So I do Podfathers, which is the parenting podcast I do with a guy named Clem, who's one of my favorite people in the world. I do the Twisted History podcast every week. My wife does all the research for it.
Say hello to your wife. I'm a huge fan.
And then I host it with different characters within the Barstool universe. And then Barstool Breakfast, which was on the Sirius band. Barstool walked away from Sirius. They had asked for like Howard Stern money. We weren't giving it, so they walked away. So in the meantime, all those shows, the Yak, Us, all those shows that are on the Barstool Network, we're looking for another platform, or Erica is. And I don't think we'd be in better hands than with Erica. So until we land somewhere else. And, obviously I was hired at Barstool to be a writer. So I'm blogging more, which is back to my roots, which is fine. I'm doing a food thing called I Want You Inside of Me every week, where I'm highlighting a different dish. So the things. Barstool keeps you busy.
Yeah, no doubt. And it's absolutely one of my favorite platforms. Erica, obviously genius. And when you talk about being in those rooms, I love being in the room with her and asking her some, great business advice. And then Portnoy himself, he is a freak of nature who I love. One of my first podcast guests, way to Super Bowl years and years ago. And I crack up every time he does shit, because it's just, people don't get he's at a different level, getting kicked out of the Super Bowl again, and people just not understanding how smart he is in manipulating a brand and looking so cool. And as you know, look, if David Portnoy can be cool, then you and I can be cool, bro.
Right. I think to myself, if I haven't had a bowel movement in 4 years without seeing Dave Portnoy eating a slice of pizza. The distribution on that pizza thing, which by the way is, it's just been going on for a while. And if you tell me that like a middle-aged Jewish guy is going to tell me what type of pizza, big fat guy from Brooklyn, I tell you, go fuck yourself. Whole Sorvino up there or something. But for some reason, it's just engaging. And then this asshole, this brilliant asshole who's giving me a job and giving me a fresh set of downs, goes and starts on a whim. I'll throw $500,000 at the Barstool Fund, which he has done. Yeah. Do you know he's over $35 million for small businesses through that thing? I mean, that's as noble as it gets for a guy who some people find despicable to his core. So I don't know. I really am proud to be part of the team, to be quite honest with you. And Dave and Erica are two totally different animals. And I'm glad that those two different animals exist, because I don't think this place is what it is if there was just one of those animals with the wheel in their hand.
Yeah, I've thought about, I'm a lone warrior as I've moved through all the sports business and esports side of stuff. But I've always looked and said, if I was ever going to be on a team, those were the two leaders that I'd like to work with, between David and Erica, and they are so different. Like I say, although Portnoy, he was on my podcast so long ago, he actually said this was his perspective. He said, Dave, if I can get $10 million, he goes, I just want to quit and go play golf every day. And so I pinged him. I'm like, dude, you're so full of shit. You're just like me. I used to tell my wife, my first $5 million, I don't understand these guys that need more than $5 million. As soon as I make $5 million, I'm moving to Arizona, buying $1 million mansion and living off my interest. Right? I'm going to buy like an IUL and just live off of, 7% a year of $4 million, doing nothing in Arizona, traveling when I want. And somewhere that perspective gets lost when you start making money, because you just keep getting more and more. And the best thing is, he's like me. He's giving back. Gary, I know Gary's involved as well, which is super cool. And they're good. That's people. $35 million makes a big impact on small business. So it's awesome.
From over 215,000 different supporters, and he's helped out so far 240 small businesses. And so that in itself, the only reason I mention it, I give you the specifics of it is because we do a podcast at Barstool called Zero Block 30, and it's run by 3 veterans, Chaps, Kate, and Captain Cons. And I think the most noble thing that was done underneath our umbrella. But this, by far, the Barstool Fund has brought the idea of nobility to another level. You say $5 million, Dave says $10 million. I got to be honest, you give me $75,000 and get these wife and kids away from me, I might. But I think the difference being is that every time that you moved on from a business, Dave, I think you left it in good hands. Dave is such a content machine. Me coming from a trading world, I never knew a guy who could manage and also trade. The best traders made the worst managers. The best managers made the worst traders. Dave is content, and his content is infectious and electric. And if he was to all of a sudden sell to Penn for $450 million, him getting $100 million, stock was worth $30 a share. Now it's over 100, right? So let's but without him, this is not a $450 million company. So it's like that point in Godfather. Now you can't leave. You can't leave. We need you to justify this valuation and to take this thing to the moon, as they say. I hope he's listening to this, because wow, my kissing his ass something.
Yeah, I was gonna say, be careful. He's a quiet Dave Meltzer fan, so be careful. He might actually listen to this someday.
God, been shining his. And by the way, that last woman's like, you ever get bloated from eating 4 apples? I went to a Colombian restaurant last night. I ate more chicharrones than
Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, what's next for you? I'm going to let you get going on your day. We got to do more content together, my friend. I love learning from you and hearing from you.
Absolutely. What's next for me is I'm going to do the twisted history of comedians So we're taping that right after this. I'm doing it with a guy named Jim Florentine, who's a pretty famous stand-up comedian. He has a podcast on the Barstool Network also. So Twisted History has picked up a nice bid. So people who are interested in podcasts that are a little weird, Twisted History, Kamikazes, to Bestiality, to Comedians, to Ancient Roman Empire, like all this kind of stuff. We try to give you enough information so you're interesting at a bar. If somebody listens to this, you ever sit down at a bar and you listen to somebody's conversation and you pick up something? That's all I want from Twisted History.
Oh, nice.
What it does, and just read everything that I write, and I guarantee you'll be entertained, and I will come back and do whatever you want, whenever you want, because I love you.
I love you too, man. Thank you so much. Check out Large. He's all over the place. Thank you so much for joining me. Say hi to your wife for me.
Certainly will, man. Be well.
Thank you, brother. Glad to see you well. Take care. Amazing. The guy is a genius. He won't admit it. He's so humble. He's like, oh, yeah, that's why I talk to you. I sit there and suck in the knowledge of what he does and how he does this. It is incredible. So thank you, everybody. Let's take a couple questions. Ben, I think Ben had a question for me if he was here. I wanted to bring my man in. I like this question, though. Can you ask too much? No. You can't out-ask. Write that down. You can't out-ask. You can't ask big enough. You can't ask enough. You can't out-ask. It's something that I tell myself all the time. The universe is abundant. We can't fathom infinity. Infinity of time, infinity of space, infinity of distance, infinity of quantities. Those are man-made concepts, unrelated to, but yet part of a whole. So you too should ask as much as you can and as big as you can, and then double it. Use that term in your knowledge. I want this, double it. Double it. Double it. Just like my wife told me when I personally wanted to donate some money to my business partner's charity, and it was a big portion of my salary, and she said, double it. That's faith when you understand that. Ben, how are you?
Doing pretty good. How are you, David?
I'm very well. Thank you for your patience, my friend.
Yeah, of course, all good content and a lot of fun. So I'm happy to be here and happy to listen.
Well, I love the sign behind you. You can't give what you don't have, and you are love, you are forgiveness, you are giving, and live for yourself so life can come through you for others. What question do you have for me?
So you were just talking about how you can't out ask, and I 100% agree with that. But I've been doing, I think, too much. My goal has been really access and impact lately. I'm a coach, so I work with clients that are stuck in their careers, and so I'm good on the client side, but I do a lot of podcast interviews. I say yes to a lot of article interviews, etc. But I'm like, it's getting to a point where I need to set a limit. Like I do with my volunteer work, there's a limit. But I've always been under the understanding that you just say yes to every audience, right? Especially in your first couple of years of business, you just want to get out there, you want to speak. And I don't like when you're on tour with a book tour, right? You're not sleeping. So do you have limits for yourself? Do you have any suggestions in terms of limits that we need to set when you have these opportunities? Like you have Clubhouse, you have LinkedIn Lives, you have podcasts, and all that stuff.
Yeah. So number one, it's something that you codify into a matrix. Understanding all the different platforms and opportunities that exist for you to host and for you to be a guest on, determined upon your own activity. You get paid for activity you don't get paid for in your sleep. The biggest effect that I've had, and where people will say, how do you do everything, is that I am very disciplined with my time, meaning 5-minute phone calls, 20-minute meetings. I make sure that I try to be accessible to everyone. So if someone wants to come live with me like you, I will give them, 5 minutes, one question. Let's get your brand out there. Let's get everyone to know you, etc. And I will limit, someone like the large from Barstool and Sirius and YouTube, wherever the hell Large is from, he'll get 15 minutes. And then I'll do, 15 interviews of 5 minutes. I'll do 10 interviews of 20 minutes. And I will keep on scheduling those out, and I will use time in order to effectuate. And then I got to be good enough to bring it during that time. So, one of the things, I was on a speech last night and they wanted me for an hour and a half. And I said, no, I can do it from 4 to 4:45. But I brought it in that time. I wanted, people to know that I'm going to use your time wisely. Grab a pen. I'm going to talk a little faster, but I'm going to drop bomb after bomb after bomb, nugget after nugget after nugget, so that if I only have 5 minutes to come on your show, Ben, people are going to be like, holy shit, that was the best 5 minutes we've had. And I think it's not the amount of time that you're spending, it's the number of shows you're on and how much value you're bringing to each of those shows. So keep saying yes, limit your time. You have plenty of it. Be as accessible as possible. 7 days a week, by the way, my friend. You know, vacation every day, but 7 days a week. Keep saying yes to everyone. Build that brand so you can impact more and more people to impact more and more people. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I love that feedback. You know, if someone offers an hour interview, you say 20 minutes, but you show up for those 20 minutes. And I recently pushed back because a lot of people are doing webinars now. And I'm like, no, let's do meeting. Let's be engaged and let's decrease that time because I don't need to talk for an hour. So 100%, I love it. It resonates fully. I'm going to start incorporating it. So thank you.
And you can invite people to the other thing. So, you know, if they don't have time for Q&A, tell them where they can find you doing Q&A, right?
Yep.
Tell them where to go. That's why I do free trainings on Friday. Not everybody can afford my training, and I can't afford everybody to train. You know, I literally have put a criteria even on, I know you do coaching. Look, I only coach month to month for two reasons. One, I want to guarantee value. But two, I want to qualify each of my clients that it's worth my time to be valuable to them. I have to be able to guarantee profit. And so I tell people, look, I'm not your guy, you know, go over to Dave Corbin. He'll spend a weekend with you. I'm not going to spend a weekend with you, but I'm going to bring it coaching wise, speaking wise, interview wise, all by understanding time and the man-made construct of it and utilizing it with three lenses: productivity, accessibility, accessing what you want, and being accessible to others, and of course, gratitude, finding the light, the love, and the lessons, dropping the bombs and the nuggets the best that you can.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. And you didn't say no. And I was like, okay, just change scope, change frame. I love it. Thank you.
Yeah. Yes, 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 yes. The great Ben Ritter. Where can people find you, buddy?
Most active on LinkedIn. I don't want to push anyone off this, but find me on LinkedIn, Dr. Benjamin Ritter. Love to have a conversation. And if you are on Instagram, it's RitterBenj, RITTERBENJ.
If you're going to have a conversation with Ben, make sure you're quick and concise. That's what I say. I'm going to save you time.
I appreciate
Thanks so
that.
much, Doc. Take care.
You too.
Right on. Bye. All right. Very common problem. Let's take a couple questions. I am going over to Jordan today and going to be joining live at Zhangjian at 9 a.m. Pacific. 20. Is that 22 minutes? See, my math is so good. The universe is mathematical. What should be an entrepreneur's first move when a plan doesn't go as expected? Well, that should be your first move, is plan that your plan is not going to go as expected. Because if you want to make God laugh, come up with a well-developed plan. That's why we have that AAA strategy you asked about. Alignment first, action second, and what's third? Prepare for adjustments. I'm happy where I'm at, exactly where I'm at, with everything I need at the right place at the perfect time, angling to what I want, but having faith I'm going to end up somewhere better. Great questions, by the way. Thank you, everyone. I'm still reeling over Sophie, Large, and Ben. What great guests to have on here. Just bringing value, hopefully, to everyone. When you say ask and attract, what does that mean? That means that you create a void with the energy that you put out, the value that you give, and then you fill that vacuum with what you want. So you need to ask two series of questions. One, how can you be of service or value? And two, do you know anyone that can help me? Right? Life is a vacuum. When we're expanding, the water goes like this. You need to attract what you want into there by thinking about what you want, not what you don't want, what's missing, or what other people want for you, what you want to fill the vacuum. That's what we want to do. All right, one more question. Friday's training, by the way, you got it. Ask and attract. Get my books, my guides, my exercise for free. I pinned my email there, david@dmeltzer.com. I will sign a book, send it to you, pay for shipping. I will also have a text community, 949-298-2905. Join that. I have a clubhouse with Glenn Lundy called Breakfast of Champions at 6 a.m. Pacific time every Friday on Clubhouse, one of the most popular clubhouses there is. Great questions. I have Ask Me Anything on Mondays at 3 p.m. Pacific. You're not going to remember that. My podcast is downloadable, called The Playbook. It's millionaires, billionaires, entrepreneurs, athletes, celebrities, entertainers, and all my trainings, all the Q&A right there. Download the podcast called The Playbook. Like it, share it. You'll love it. Let's take one more question, and we will call it a beginning of the day. Any predictions for the future of sports events? Eventually, we will be back to mass audiences, and it will be like the Roaring '20s. People will love it. Playbook with John Fieldly. today of Celsius. Oh, that's a great product, by the way. All right, cool. Check that one out. There's 650 of those suckers or so. So the playbook, download it. There's plenty. They're from Deepak Chopra to Hall of Fame football players like Marshall Faulk to billionaires like Tillman Fertitta and, greats, all of the Jones. It doesn't matter. Check it out. Anyway, most importantly, everyone, reach out to me, david@dmeltzer.com. Text me 949-298-2905 is pinned below. Most importantly, be kind to your future self and do good deeds. I'll see you later.